Once I was a crusader for the Divine Order. I pledged my...
All my life, I've been a performer, a musician, beloved and celebrated by all. But I have a secret. I'm also a playground for sprites and spirits and... worse. The voice that rings inside me now is darker than any that came before. Almost caused a bunch of my fans to rip each other to pieces. But you can trust me. I've got this under control. Step 1. Find out who, or what, is trying to take control of my mind. Step 2. Make it sorry it ever tried.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
Damn. And here I was, hoping my upstairs visitor was just playing tricks on me.
Need to write to headquarters right away.
Who are you? Nobody? Yeah, no thanks. One sparkly green hate necklace is enough.
No marks, no indications of a struggle. It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural.
Junk.
Oh, everything's spick and span. Nothing left to do, really.
No marks, no indications of a struggle. It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural.
Well, there. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. No, you're alive, and you're having a conversation. You are on a ship, of course. But luckily for us both, we're merely sailing the plain old sea.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good girl, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Source spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it, see? The collar's function. It neuters you, of sorts. Makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
Did the murderer take him into
Good
this room?
gods!
Was he already?
There's been a murder here.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of,
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. I thought as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Not in here, it isn't. You let me know if you hear anything.
Oh my, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
No marks, no indications of a struggle.
Oh my, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
Give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
We just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up.
What are you playing here anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Junk.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates.
I'm trying to concentrate.
Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a...
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers. A dark, dank place. I remember it well. As everyone lay sleeping, you sat in the dark with wakeful eyes, looking rather lovingly at... me! Huh. My, aren't you a pretty cup full of sugar and spice?
She pats you on the shoulder consolingly.
There, don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
Soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing...
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Ifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the Ringmaster himself. Easy now. I might think the same. But Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You! What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet.
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper.
Finer fare than boiled roots and rock. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you can.
Here's a register, ma'am. Good, good. Magister Williams has just about you faring okay so far. Of course I do. Seems Voidwoke can dog your heels like a shadow. That's no... You'll see. We're gonna help you. You head on in now. Williams will...
Keep those bolts trained on her, and if she tries to run...
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking Magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
By all means, do as the officer says. But you had better hurry, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened? God damn it! We need to get off this wreck, and quick. Not long before this thing snaps into splinters. this?
The marking on the door was painted recently. Judging from its pungent scent, you press your palm against the door to open it. The wood, it doesn't budge.
First, just like the old story said.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes.
Said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
But wait! There's still people down there.
As the boat rocks downward, a prayer to Lucian you once heard passes through your mind. The law of life from divine within saved me from death and the shackles of sin. You clench your eyes and brace for impact.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
Well, the order's right about one thing. First comes Source, then comes Void Woken. Am I the lone survivor? Well, thanks, disembodied voice. Brackus Rex. Who's that again? This again? Nice throne, at least.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Hi, Losa. I'm Tam. Are you a sorcerer too?
The child screws up his face and looks at you, hard. He holds up his little mirror and peers into it, inspecting your reflection. His eyes go wide.
I have to go.
The boy begins to...
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, please. You're not a real person. There's a thing wearing your skin. I saw it. Go away. Go away. Go away.
I thought these bloody collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. That's Magister Jalen. He wasn't so bad on the ship, at least. Poor fella. boring.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin as the lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
Pleased to make my acquaintance, are you? I see your short-term memory. Why, only a few hours ago, I saw you skulk about that ship like a lost child in search of its mother. But you weren't a lost child. Word has reached me, you see, through a very sour grapevine indeed, that you turned your back. So much easier, isn't it, to look out for oneself alone? Of course I did. Takes more than some... So, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought...
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? A consciousness. Very good. And the water it may drown in. Life.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few...
As for myself, when I consider this, I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed... Yes, but these weren't castles in the sky, were they? Quite obviously, I was musing over the very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? Well, more's the damn pity, isn't it? For I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the Spouse of the Sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you truly. A kind offer indeed. You do look able, though. Despite your selfish tendencies. Tendencies to which I'm no stranger, truth be told. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer. One of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my... Jolly good. So, now that that's settled, first, even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards then to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods and gives...
Now, as you're aware, you'll be travelling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, Milord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go.
kitty. Hey, kitty, kitty.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but its eyes clear.
I wonder where this leads.
You walk up to a skeleton unlike any you have ever seen before. Approaching, you hear a profane
bugger. How on earth am I supposed to...
Skeletal fingers reach down and grip the skin of the dead man's face, pulling sharply upwards.
Damnation. That stuck fast. I wonder, does the beard act as some form of anchor? Ah! No! Stay back! Don't... Actually, you don't seem half as threatening as those creatures in red. Run along, won't you? I have business to attend to. Why, its face, of course. What other use would I have for some rotting corpse? A face that seems rather stubbornly attached to his skull. I would normally employ a tool to delicately but viciously rip the face from the body. I could then craft a mask to hide my bone. But as I lack such a tool...
The skeleton grabs the corpse by the cheeks and pulls hard, grunting in frustration as the body's skin holds firm.
Yes, yes. Do feel free to call. By which I mean shout loudly. I do not want you sneaking... You again? Can't you see I'm...
He lifts the corpse's eyelids.
It could be worse. Although they could certainly... A companion? After you left the others to die on that ship? And again, I am somewhat... I suppose. Circumstances, but you seem more... at ease in this world than I. Excellent. While we are conversing, perhaps you notice that I am rather... Of course, the arcane arts are my little speciality. I could do that with one... Splendid. Very well. Let...
I found something.
Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speak.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more...
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come!
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squint.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe...
What a waste. will be needed elsewhere.
The lizard magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
She was a lizard, yet a magister.
These creatures are so prone to violence. Naturally.
He hasn't changed a bit. Always late.
Come on then, Lexi. Pay up.
I find any bread. I want no trouble.
Bread or brisket?
Bow your head, please! If we chant the endless prayer, the next divine will ascend. Haven't you heard? Bishop Alexander, do not doubt that he will come into his power.
Have you cut?
Just like all your kind.
What's up, God?
Right, God. Will you quit dragging this on? Take that on, Lexi. Just stand.
This is not your business, Longpick.
Don't let this moss muncher talk to you.
An intense-looking...
Just stand aside, won't you, mate?
Lone wolves decide their own bit.
The thug freezes in fear for a moment.
Pay up, elf. No one shorts Griff. Especially not one of you.
Burrow looks you both up and down.
Ah, get out of here. The both of you.
The elf smiles and...
Follow me, before more of them trouble us. There is a safe place.
Ivan rolls his sleeves back down. He nods at you, the shadow of a smile.
Good work there. Good work. I can...
He stretches out one rough hand to shake yours. He grips your hand tight as a vice.
Say, you don't look all that busy now that we're safely on dry land. I've just got a small errand to run. And then I'll be looking to get the hell out of here, while I've still got a neck to collar. How about we stick together until we get out of this place?
He shrugs, looking up.
Mercenaries. It's a job. My job. Everyone needs to make a living.
The little black cat trailing you hisses at him, hair raising...
That's the truth. For me, for you. Why not help each other get out of here? The usual way. Haphazard, terrifying, and two heads are better than one. And when push comes to shove...
He grins.
So, before we hit the road, it's best survival's my main priority. I'll use every trick in the book to keep us alive. But it can do.
He scans the horizon.
Right you are.
The shrine depicts Lucy and the Divine, avatar of the 7 gods. It does not react.
Shrine by the looks of it. So this is Fort Joy.
What a crumbling disaster.
Nice and slow.
A delivery. Surely you have one? Please. Hmm? Oh, excuse me.
That you wanted.
Leave him be. Don't make me say it again.
Listen, I can help you if you just...
Shut up, elf. This clown, caught him stealing from my kitchen. Still won't say where he stashed my supplies. Caught him red-handed trying to make off with a second crate after he took the first. Went down like supplies. Crate of food, citrus in particular. He'll talk, or he'll die quiet. Ain't been here long, have ya?
He twirls his knife.
Divine's gone. This blade is the only god watching over Fort Joy. Alls I want is my supplies. Happy to let this clown...
An elf, caked in mud.
You believe what he says? That I am a thief? Perceptive. Like most men behind bars, I'm innocent. Some people settle it, not you. Smart. In this case, I think we help each other. I know a way out. I show you. And finally, Griff releases me if he sees after I am free, you are free. I see no one. In fact, I only hear the sound of Griff clearing his throat. You know how he does. Griff is a powerful man. Power is mysterious. In case you haven't, I intend no harm. I want only some provisions. A bit of bread, you understand. Thank you.
You forget my name, here?
Everything there? Good.